Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Action Network. Today is our Week 10, Tuesday, NFL episode. I am Chad Millman, Chief Content Officer of the Action Network. We are coming off of a 3-2 week in our contest. We reviewed that extensively, at least the first three games, in our Sunday night recap episode, since we did have contest plays on the Bengals on Sunday Night Football, the Jets on Monday Night Football. For posterity, we went 1-1 in those plays. Those were our foxhole, the Bengals, and our big balls, the Jets. Bets of the week. As we said on the show on Sunday, a lot of the lines we liked have already moved, which is why you need to listen to the Sunday show if you want to get the best of the number. Today, we will get to our Simon Says and our exec decision. This episode will look at the entire board as we begin narrowing down the 5 picks. We'll enter in the Favorites podcast $100,000 Pro Football Pick'em contest, still open for sign-up, still free to play, still awarding weekly and season-long cash prizes at favorites.actionnetwork.com. Halfway through the season, Simon, you and I are now in 162nd place in our contest. Out of over 11,600 entries, we are inside the top 1.3%. Time to bring in my co-host, my BFF, my companion, my compadre, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Simon, we had a winning week last week. As I said to a buddy, I was emailing with a buddy, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. Next thing you know, 18 weeks later, you're up 18 units. But I will say, it was our hardest, most contentious week of the year. I feel like we are lucky to have gotten out of it at 3-2, especially since our anchor leg was that Jets game.
Yeah, I think Action Network just retweeted this. The Jets, the only NFL team in the Super Bowl era to have their defense collect 5+ sacks, hold their opponent under 200 yards, not allow any play of 25 yards or more, and lose the game by 20+ points. So that's just the breaks, Chad. We bet ugly teams, doesn't break our way. The painful part is whenever we leave 2 plays out and they both win, the odds are stacked against us. So we left the Eagles and the Raiders out, both covered. That's always scary, where it's just like, you're not going to win them all. When you leave out a couple of those plays, it usually comes back and bites you. And I'm with you. Like 3-2 feels good to get there. We nailed that Bengals game. Jets game, not so much.
I think at the end of the day, I still would have made that play again. Like looking at that game, their defense is so freaking good.
So good.
If Zach Wilson can make one forward play instead of one backwards play in a couple of times in the first half and the second half combined,
yeah,
it's a different conversation, right? So, I think
could have got Josh Dobbs for a 6th-round pick, but they decided to roll with Zach Wilson. I'd be pretty pissed off right now if I was a Jets fan.
Soon after this show, Simon, Matt Mitchell and I, Matt Mitchell from Milwaukee, me from New York City, from JFK, we will be getting on planes to visit our Danish overlords in Copenhagen, which is where we will record our Thursday show. Matt Mitchell and I will be recording the show together from Copenhagen. The last time we recorded the show together might have been in Louisville, Kentucky at this time last year. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. As a reminder, producer Tito would like us to say, catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. So for those enjoying on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Boy, oh boy. Um, this is a crazy, crazy week we got coming up. One more update. Here's the week 9 winners roundup from the favorites contest. We had 62 entries finish 5-0. That's just 1.4% of entries. Congrats to our first place winner, SOD Productions. This week's producer cup award goes to Dog Jimbo for finishing dead fucking last in the week 9 contest, going 0-5, missing the tiebreaker by 254 yards. Dog Jimbo, please email producer Matt Mitchell at podcasts@actionnetwork.com to claim your non-cash prize. Thanks for playing. Week 10 contest is live. Tiebreaker, total passing yards on Monday Night Football. All right. Justin Herbert, one of our passing yardage futures, 25-1, pretty much dead. Tyreek Hill leading the league in receiving yards, but barely hanging on against a streaking A.J. Brown. We got him at 9-1. Jalen Carter had another half sack on Sunday against Dallas, still minus money to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Simon, let's get to week 10. Okay? Thursday Night Football. Carolina visiting Chicago. Chicago is a 3.5-point underdog. This one feels kind of strange to me. I will say, the total is 40. Primetime unders 22-7, 161, 102-3 since 2019. Another primetime under last night, actually 23-7, because I forgot to update from last night. So 3 primetime unders this weekend. The Bears should have beaten New Orleans outright. Like, the Bears had 5 turnovers. New Orleans still only won by 7. Bryce Young throws 2 pick sixes, which were the difference in the game. We liked Carolina a lot on Sunday. I think it was the right side. They dominated that game. More total yards, more total plays, more yards per play, more rushing yards. Indy was truly terrible. What do you want to do here? Just bet the under, move on?
Yeah, a bit of a weird line though, right? Doesn't it feel like a Justin
Yes.
Fields line? It feels like a Justin Fields line.
It feels well. Why do you say Justin Fields line? Because the Bears are 3.5-point dogs. Like if we knew Fields was playing,
no. Bears are favorites.
something changed.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Did I
Yeah,
write it down
no,
wrong?
nothing changed. I think they've been favorites, haven't they? But they're minus 3.5.
All right, then shit. I guess I wrote it down wrong. That's weird. That's so
Um,
weird.
yeah, it's a game where I'm just gonna be happy to take Carolina, and I'm happy to take the under. A lot of conversation about when the books are going to adjust to this trend and when they're going to catch, us betting these unders. As long as the money keeps coming in late on the over, I'm really not too worried about the books catching up to us. I mean, that number last night moved from, I believe, 39 and closed at 41 in a lot of books by kickoff. Like, that's what keeps happening, people. I'm telling you, like, you might think everyone's on the under because on the app and, in the action app, it says, all the money, all the tickets is on the under. In that last hour, so much money always comes in on the over. It's either people thinking they're smarter than ever, all of us, and they're like, you know what, we're due for an over. They come in on it, and then Joe Public comes in on it. So right now, yeah, all the bets, all the money is on the under. It'll probably flip when it gets closer to it. I have to just do it. I have to take Carolina. I have to take the under, and it's just a bet on. If it is Fields, he hasn't played a competitive football game in over a month. You expect the guy who's not been the most accurate quarterback in football to continue to be rusty coming back from an injury. And on the Panthers side, I don't have a model that can predict Bryce Young throwing pick sixes. I wish I did. Me and Chad would be on an island together if I did, but we assume he won't have back-to-back weeks throwing pick sixes. So if Bryce can protect the ball, the Panthers will be able to move the ball. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, the craziest takeaway from that Saints game was how good Sweat was for you guys. Like, that dude on running plays, rushing the passer, it stood out how good Sweat is to your defense, the Bears defense. Now, you could say, well, that was just one game. Don't take too much from it, but that's a big deal to me. You guys had no pulse on that D-line. A team could run it, they could pass it, they could do whatever they want because they didn't have to really worry about a pass rush or your run defense. So, maybe I need to adjust more. That Sweat is now in the Bears defense, but I still think teams will be able to run the ball, and that's what Carolina wants to do. So 3.5. It feels a little boring taking it, but the fact that no one's really on this Carolina team, right? Everyone's just off this stink. Like
Yeah.
they just look so bad last week. It's hard to avoid this number, Chad. I kind of have to take it.
No, I agree. 3.5 is totally this side to me. Because Carolina, they outplayed Indy last week. And it's like watching the Jets, right? Zach Wilson makes horrific plays, but the rest of the team is playing incredibly well.
Yeah.
And that's the difference maker. And that this is what professional bettors do, by the way. 48 hours later, they look at the entirety of what happened in the game. They look at every line item of the box score, and they're like, wait a second. This team dominated the other team. If we're gonna look at the final score and make our bets based on the final score, then we're no better than any other schmuck. So yes, I agree with you. Indy and New England. This is the Frankfurt, Germany game. One of those dreaded games where the Colts started as a dog. They're now the favorite. That's a 44-84 against the spread trend since 2019. Of course, the Colts were in the same spot last week against Carolina. Started in that same position, and it swung. They covered. I hate saying that the value is now on the Pats. I'm so glad this can't be in the contest. We've talked about the Pats all season. I want to spend as little time talking about this game as possible.
Yeah, it feels like my gut instincts like you want to take the Colts. Colts just had a bad game. You expect them to bounce back offensively. We talked about the splits for Minshew. He's not that great of a quarterback, right? I think I said going into the last game in his last 14, he was 3-11 ATS. He's good and he's bad. He's good and he's bad. That's just how Minshew is. That's why he's a backup. Mac Jones, though, 4-15 ATS for my guy Evan. 4-15 ATS. So, I'll be one of those people that admit, like earlier this year, anytime Mac was a dog with Belichick, it was like you got to take this. Like you're getting Belichick as an underdog. And that's worn out. That's gone. Like that mentality for me is totally gone. And I'm with you, Chad. Like I'll probably end up on the Colts, or I'll just pass on this one. I got no itch in my body to get in on this Patriots team where Mac Jones just can't make the throws, and he doesn't have the talent around him either. Like he has good running backs, but the receivers are terrible, and Mac is no better. So 4-15 ATS as a dog, Mac Jones. I just can't do it.
All right, let's get into the heart of it then, because the Niners are visiting the Jags, and Brock Purdy and the Niners just had a bye. He had been concussed. They have been injured. After that Cowboys game, they've gone into a tailspin. The Jags, very sneaky 6-2, playing better since the London games. We talked about this on Sunday night. We bet it at 2.5. It moved up to 3. You said it was your first bet of the week. I don't know why anybody wouldn't take this with Jags at +3. Everything feels like it's lining up in the right spot. Shanahan, historically not great as a favorite on the road. His teams are much, much better when the expectations are a little bit lower, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say I get it from the standpoint of they've lost 3 straight. The 49ers have lost 3 straight. They had a bye week. You assume they come back and get right against this Jaguars team that, I mean, they're probably the second hottest team in football behind the Ravens. I mean, people don't realize it because they just came off a bye week, but
yeah, that's what I mean. It's very sneaky that they're 6-2. Like the AFC South is becoming more interesting because of the Texans, but they're like slowly but surely they started badly. They've been winning games. They've been winning ugly games. They haven't even reached their peak, and they're 6-2.
Yeah, and honestly, that Houston game was probably their worst game of the year. They lost, what was it, 17-37. They got dominated. But if you go back and look, that was that wonky game of, Trevor Lawrence can stop turning the ball over. They got a kick return Houston by, I think, like a fullback, something crazy like that. And, since then, they've been good. Like, they beat Atlanta, they beat Buffalo, they beat the Colts, they beat the Saints, then they just beat Pittsburgh. Then they had a bye week. That's my only fear here is it's just like, what are we not seeing, Chad? Because that's obviously professional money that's made this go up to 3 now, but I'll take the 3. If the public and a couple pros love the 49ers, and, Chad just said it, like Shanahan, he's kind of a different coach than at home as a favorite than he is on the road as a favorite. And I'm not going to make this Simon Says as much as I want to, just because this could keep going up. Like, it could go up to 3.5, but we'll grab the 3 just in case it does come down. But it's crazy. All the early money I'm looking at right now in the Action app, all the early money is on the 49ers. So I don't know. I just can't stop thinking that Purdy has concussion. He's not going to be healed from it right away. And since he's gotten his head wrong, they've lost 3 straight games, and you can put blame wherever you want in these games. At the end of the day, it all fell onto Purdy. Purdy was the one that kept turning the ball over. He's the one that when the game was close, they needed a winning drive, he kept making mistakes. And the 49ers couldn't have picked a better time to have that bye week, right? They might be getting back Trent Williams, the best tackle in football, arguably, and Deebo Samuel. So big deal for that 49ers team. It's don't go crazy betting this one yet, people, but you have to grab the 3. Like, if you listen to the show, you know how much we love home dogs. You got to do it. You got to grab the +3 here. And Evan just put in our chat, it could be windy in Jacksonville as well, which, between these 2 teams, might be looking to the under. Like, Jags defense better than people perceive. 49ers defense not as bad as people are perceiving right now, right? They've looked bad these last couple of weeks. They just had a tough stretch where they got diced up by Kirk. They got diced up by, Joe Burrow. Like, they've had a bad run here. So the fact that it might be windy, that actually would help that 49ers defense.
This next game, we haven't talked about it yet. Tennessee visiting Tampa Bay. This is a Mike Vrabel, we love you spot. They're off of a right. They're off of a bad loss against a really good defense. Now playing a team that is coached by basically the bizarro Mike Vrabel. If Mike Vrabel, we love him because over the past 20 years, he's one of the most profitable coaches in the NFL. Todd Bowles, the past 20 years, 143 out of 148 coaches in terms of profitability against the spread. He is 143 out of 148. I mean, right now we got Tennessee as a short road dog, +1.5. I got some other stats here, but I want to get your take on what you think of this, because we didn't discuss it at all, and I'm feeling like, how did we miss this one? Hasn't moved, so we didn't miss anything, but we just didn't bring it up.
Yeah, initially I wanted to be on the Titans. The fear here is the Titans' only weakness on defense is their secondary. The only thing Tampa can do good is give the ball to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And, a little scary. Like, you're trying to convince me to back a rookie quarterback again on the road. And I do agree, right? The Pittsburgh's defense is actually legit compared to the Bucs defense, which looked like tissue paper, right? I mean, Houston went up and down the field at will on this team, but they do have guys. Like, that's the hardest part here is they got guys on this Tampa team that, like, they're playmakers. I know they haven't shown up and they have a lot of holes, and Todd Bowles' defensive scheme is just trash, but it's hard. I can't get there right now, Chad, with you. Maybe by Thursday I'll get there on this Tennessee team, but as we sit here right now, I don't know how much I love Tennessee in this spot.
Let me give you a couple more stats. You're not wrong. They got guys. You're not wrong. Rush D. This is why I love you. I didn't even tell you what I was going to want you to bring up. so I could get these stats in. The Bucs defense is getting exposed every single week. I know Vita Vea's back, but their rush D, bottom 5 grade per Pro Football Focus. Their pass D, bottom 10. Coverage, which has nothing to do with Vita Vea, bottom 5. So they're going to get a quarterback who likes to fling it almost blindly sometimes. and every guy he tries to throw to might be open. This will be like, by the time we get to the end of Thursday, like we're going to have 6 or 7 games, and this will probably be one of the games that is on that, like, oh God. Oh God.
Yeah, you'll probably be able to convince me. That's what I mean. I need more time on this one. I just didn't know what to do with it.
All right. This is my favorite game this week. Cleveland at Baltimore. Baltimore is a 6-point favorite. I loved it on Sunday. It was at 5. I bet it at 5. It moved up. I bet it again at 6. Give me the Cleveland Browns. My exact decision. I feel like this should be 4. It makes no sense to me. Everything we can talk about says take the underdog in a divisional game between 2 great defenses. I don't get this. You're a professional bettor. Explain it to me.
I did. I told you Sunday night why you should have waited. It's the Deshaun Watson. It's unclear what the hell Deshaun Watson is. I don't know if it's Deshaun Watson of the old, which is a top 10 quarterback, or this is who Deshaun Watson is now, which is a, top 20, maybe number 18 quarterback in this league. He's not what he used to be. He'll have moments, these little flashes of great throws and getting outside the pocket and making good reads. And then he'll have these other moments of just a guy that looks like he hadn't played competitive football in 2 years. It is tough for me to get there, Chad. Like I mean, 6 is such a key number. I'll probably get there now with you on that number, but this feels like Seattle all over again, where it's just like you just take the money line against the Ravens here. Like this feels like the Ravens will roll again, or they'll lose a close one to Cleveland. Because Cleveland, like Chad said, they got the defense for it, right? We talked last time they played. The Browns, the way they structured this D line was that kind of shut down Lamar and Joe Burrow, these guys who can move in the pocket. They wanted to have really fast guys on the edges that could keep up with these guys if they do scramble. And, the first time they played, it was a total throwaway game. Cleveland had in that, I think, rookie who threw multiple picks and was just a complete disaster. I think it was 27-3. Again, early in the season, I could be wrong, but they got smoked. I want to be there with you on Cleveland. Like, this is a great defense. They know how big of a deal this game is divisionally. It's huge. We say it every week, but it's been true. Like, this is peak. This is peak buying on Lamar and this Ravens team. Like, they've been the best team in the AFC through a couple of weeks. Usually me and you like coming on the other side. So I'll join you on the 6, Chad, but I'll tell everyone you can grab the 6, but another game that I think could keep going up just because all the teasers, all the parlays will be tied to this Ravens team.
Myles Garrett right now is dominant. No matter what the position, he is one of the top 5 most impactful players in football right now. He has the best pass rush win rate in the NFL, the second best run stop win rate. Essentially, this is the percent of time in a game that this player impacts a play. So basically, every single time he's on the field, he's impacting the play. As a team, Cleveland is better at pass rush win rate, run stop win rate, offensively pass block win rate, just behind Baltimore in run block win rate. The Browns are actually graded as the best pass rush in the NFL. The Ravens are 16th. Ravens rush D and Browns rush O are essentially even. Then there's this. Harbaugh, favorite of 3.5 or more, under 500 against the spread, 5-14 the last 3 years. Lamar, 3.5 or more as a favorite, 2029. 168th of 175 quarterbacks against the spread the past 20 years. And then we've referred to this stat a bunch this year. It's my favorite stat this year. Home faves in the division since 2015, 45% against the spread. This one just like it could go up. You're right. It could totally go up, and maybe it will. And I'm gonna do the Simon Hunter play. I believe in the game. If it goes up, I'm getting a better number. Just gonna bet it again, and it'll end up being my entire bankroll for the year because this game will keep going up, and I'll lose it all on the Cleveland fucking Browns. It'll be another mistake that I get myself into because of the Cleveland Browns, but just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. Houston at Cincinnati. I feel like this is to me like the Cowboys and the Eagles were like, it feels a little square to you. You can't quite get there. You're going to get information that the wise guys are liking it for some reason. Like, this is where my tomfoolery and my sort of lack of vision might actually play to our benefit.
Yeah, I just get scared off of games I perceive as coin flip games. And I try my best to avoid those type of games. Like that Eagles game, it was a winner, but at the end of the day, it was a coin flip. It came down to a 2-pointer, and we were on the right side of that 2-pointer. That Houston and Bucks game, total coin flip game.
Dude.
And I couldn't avoid it because the number just didn't make sense. And we got lucky where it worked out for us because I just didn't get why it was 2.5. It was like everyone in the world was betting Houston. All the money was coming on Houston, but the number went from 3 on the Bucks down to 2.5. So those are things I'm looking for where it's like, if I don't understand a game, I don't trust a number, and I think it's a coin flip game, but the number reverse moves and it's moving towards what I think is going to happen, which is obviously the Bucks covering. It's like, okay, that gives me confidence. But on the flip side, like that Jets game, I told you, like I did not like how it was just sitting at 3.5 when there's a game like that and it's a public dog and it's a primetime public dog, those are things you look for. So it is tough. We do a show like here on Tuesday, just like the Jets last week. We did the show Tuesday. So I already had been betting it since Sunday night. Bet it Tuesday, bet it again Wednesday, bet it again Thursday, bet it Friday. Saturday, started losing confidence. Me and you talk Sunday morning. I'm just like, I fucking hate this Jets pick. What are we going to do? I'm already heavily invested in it. I promoted on multiple different shows we did. So that's the fear for me, Chad. It's like this week, like I know we said last week was tough. This week, there's a couple lines that really jump out where it's like that feels too good to be true, and that's what this Browns number feels like. Like 6, like you just said, way too many points this defense to be getting. So definitely a weird line.
Let me have no fear enough for both of us. Houston, Houston at Cincy. Cincy was a 7-point favorite. It's down to 6.5. Bets are coming in on Cincy. Money's coming in on Houston. Look, Joe Burrow right now is 9-1 to win MVP after the Sunday night game. When October began, he was 50-1. Meanwhile, CJ Stroud is coming off the best game for a rookie quarterback in history. Cincy's defense is actually pretty middle of the road, just top 5 against the rush. CJ Stroud is very good under pressure. And that's because he doesn't feel the pressure because he gets the ball away in 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds, which is just behind Joe Burrow and Tua for quickest release in the NFL. I don't have a strong opinion on this one. If I had been smart, I would have played Houston at +7. I didn't. Doesn't feel like a contest play to me.
I'm on the other side right now. I love Bengals. I love Bengals in this spot.
Great.
You're getting to fade a rookie off a historical performance. I know he's cool-headed. Like he's not gonna let his head get too big from it, but it's gonna be a big difference going at home, throwing against air. Now he's going on the road to Cincy, playing against a legit AFC contender. That's the reason this number's so big. That's why, like, I had a couple people message me like, "Why don't you guys talk about Houston at the 7?" I just didn't want anyone to bet it. I thought that was a weird number in the first place. Even before the Bengals game, I thought to myself, that's just a weird number. They're hanging out there that you can grab Houston before this game's even played at +7. I mean, if the Bengals say they had lost that game, what's this drop to? 4.5 most likely. Like it just would have been a total overreaction by the public, and it feels like they're reacting on Houston right now. Just the fact that they're just blindly betting this number at what it's at. The question right now is what is the difference between CJ at home than on the road, right? We've seen the splits. I think anyone could go look at the splits. He's a totally different quarterback at home than on the road. The previous week, before last week, they lost to the Panthers 13-15 on the road, right? Struggled on the road.
Yep.
Let's go 2 weeks before that. He played in Atlanta. Remember how bad this Atlanta secondary is? This Atlanta secondary is giving up all these yards. And Will Levis just gave up a ton of yards. The Dobbs, they lost 19-21 to Atlanta on the road. And he just had a bad game as well. Because why? Because he struggled in the red zone. So I believe he'll be able to move the ball, like you said, up and down the field on Cincy. But when they get in the red zone, that's what Cincy's really good at this year. And some of those early numbers on their defensive front, they were bad the first 3-4 weeks defensively, the Cincy team. So those numbers do make sense that they don't project out as a great defense right now. But can't we all say we've seen something different than these last couple of weeks? I mean, the way they played against the 49ers, the way they played against Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen, you can say he had a bad game that game. I thought he played really well. I just thought since he kept taking away what he wanted to do, which is they took away Diggs. So, here we go. Another great stat from our guy, Evan Stroud, 9.3 yards per attempt at home. He's 6.9 on the road. So that's a pretty big drop off on the yards he's getting through the air passing. So, not going to be suckered into this one. My first glance was like, take Houston. That's a huge number, too big. I'm going to go with the Bengals, and I'll back them at 6.5 here. You know what? Simon says 6.5 Bengals.
Oh, no. Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe it did it because I wasn't even going to do that. But I'm feeling confident about this one where
Dude,
it's just big splits.
I'm so glad you said that because in my notes, when I was researching the game yesterday, I couldn't, and it was 7. I couldn't get a sense of where the inflation was. And I'm like, I think it's Houston, but I'm not quite sure. And because you had so much positivity from both sides.
Yeah, it's hard.
So you're bringing clarity right now, and you're giving me comfort to bet on the team that we think is better and is really playing like one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the AFC, along with the Ravens and the Chiefs. To bet on them as a near touchdown favorite, and we're getting the 0.5 point difference. So you're calling it, you're putting your credibility behind it, your authority, your genius. I fucking love that you just made this, Simon Says. I did not see this coming. Didn't see it. Love this, Simon. Oh, I love when there's magic like that. You know where there's not magic? New Orleans. It's just luck. This team, another one we talked about it on Sunday night. They're at Minnesota. The game opened at 3, Minnesota +3, down to 2.5. We expected it to move in the Vikings direction. It did. I mentioned earlier in the show when talking about the Bears, how lucky the Saints got. And all the stats are in our direction here about how terrible Carr is as a favorite. He did not cover against the Bears. They needed 5 turnovers to win. I went back and counted yesterday when I was doing my research. All of those turnovers for the Bears were in Bears territory, led to 10 points. Another was a missed Saints field goal, include a 4th down stop and a punt. They couldn't convert anything. We've been talking about Derek Carr being better as he got closer to the goal line. That wasn't it. This team got very lucky to walk away from that game with a win. So now we got Josh Dobbs. There's always something weird about backup quarterbacks when they come in. It flips the script on your bet, right? Because all of a sudden, there's havoc that's being created in weird ways that a team has to defend against. Josh Dobbs doesn't have that this week. He might just go back to being Josh Dobbs from the Cardinals. So I don't really have a strong opinion on this game.
Yeah, another game where it feels like we're able to buy low on the Saints team. I think most people perceive what you just said, which is the Saints got pretty lucky. They didn't play that good last week, which is true. They didn't play that great. Only reason I wanted to back the Vikings because it's a fun story and it's a fun team, but the numbers move too much. The value is now on the Saints. You're getting a better team under 3 playing against, a team's backup they just brought in. Like they're going to see the tape. The tape will be pretty simple. It's like if you can stop Dobbs from running outside the pocket and picking up first downs, they're dead. Like the guy only knew when if you go back and watch the film, when they would run routes, they basically only had 5 plays to run. They must have went to him and said, "What are the 5 plays you know?" And they just ran those 5 plays. I'm with everyone. It's such a fun story, but I need to like be the professional gambler I am and take the value here. The value is the Saints. Like their defense is good. They're what I talked about. The Derek Carr in the red zone is a real thing, but they're kind of neutralizing that with the Taysom Hill aspect. Like Taysom Hill came in. What did he do? I think he ran for a touchdown and he received a touchdown. I think my guy, I think it was Chris Raybon, said that since week like 3, Taysom Hill is tied with Travis Kelce's number 1 tight end in fantasy football. So it's a thing where they're just been using him. Like they started the season not really using Taysom Hill, and the season has gone on here. They've kind of figured out how to use him. So Vikings, they were being held up by Kirk Cousins, right? We talked all year. Like they have a bad defense. They're the one the most blitz heavy defense in all football because they have no talent. And Leslie Frazier just knows, I just got to blitz. Like I don't have the dudes to cover. We got to get pressure on the quarterback, rush the quarterback. Being lost in the shuffle years, Heineke put up 28 points against this defense and this Vikings team. It's hard for me not to want to back the Saints here. And another stat from our guy Evan, Dobbs is 1-9 straight up as a starter, Chad. So if this number keeps moving, if this dips between 1.5, this might end up being one of my biggest bets of the week. I'm gonna hate myself putting this much money on Derek Carr, but it's just that's the way the line's moving, people.
You know what's funny is sometimes I'm taking notes while we're doing the podcast so I can refer to it on Thursday and then on Sunday in our conversations about what we're going to put in there. Sometimes we start talking about a game and you say you like it, and I'm like, I'm not even going to write that one down. And then as it goes along,
that's fair.
And then as it goes along, like I hear you talking about it more and more. I'm like, oh fuck, he loves this.
I know. That's how I feel. That's how I feel betting these games.
And then you just told me it will move down. It will end up being one of your biggest bets of the week. We will have to put it in the contest, and it's making me sick because now I just started adding up like the contest is going to be, it'll end up being the fucking Jags +3, the Titans +1.5.
Let's go.
The Saints might like it'll get down to -1.5. Like, oh my God, it's gonna be fucking terrible. By the way,
that's how we get the 3 and 2, baby.
That's right. Producer Tito reporting in the chat. The Rams are signing Carson Wentz.
My old hero. I still have his jersey. Never burned it. Thank you, Carson Wentz, for my Super Bowl, and I'm happy for him going to the Rams. Maybe I'll have that Baker bump. Baker went to the Rams, completely helped him re-energize and relearn football with McVay, and hope nothing but bets for Wentz, but pretty horrible for me as someone that has a decent amount of money on Rams over 6.5 wins. This might mean Stafford's out for a little while, which is just not what I wanted to hear. So hopefully this is a signing just to be the backup, not to come in and be like a starter for the next 4 weeks.
Well, it's appropriate that Tito gave us the news because as a reminder, for the second time, catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Okay, next game up. Green Bay at Pittsburgh. I was going to say Pitt, but that's not really how they say it. Green Bay at Pittsburgh. The Steelers are 3-point favorites. Not a spot that we tend to like backing Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
We talked about this on Sunday. You liked it at 2.5. You liked it at 3. I was hesitant, came around. It started to make sense. Jordan Love is terrible. He's not even getting blitzed that often, but still has one of the highest bad throw percentages in the league. Horrible. We really don't like Tomlin when he's not a dog. And then, Simon, I don't know if you saw this or not. In Slack, in our Luck Rankings channel, Nick Giffen let us know this is a massive Luck Rankings game. I just talked about with the Browns. Like, I believe in that, right? I truly believe that is a real
Yeah,
signal in the noise. Luck rankings to me are a signal in the noise because we don't do them haphazardly. We only talk about them when there's real meaning and real delta that can be of
right.
value to people. So this fucking kills me because I know we're both on Pittsburgh at 2.5 and 3.
Yeah, and it stinks too where it's like if you want to just play it the lazy way, you just take Pittsburgh and the Green Bay under Pittsburgh and the Green Bay under first half. Like both these teams apparently are the worst. I have to check it again, but I'm almost positive before I came on my notes. I had it as both bottom 5 in points scored in the first half. Like these are just two teams, and we joked about the Steelers. How many games did they look dead in the first half and then somehow win coming out in that second half? And they've had a bunch of games that way this year. Green Bay's just like dead all game. I
Yeah.
mean, that Rams game, they were begging to lose that game in every way possible. And even though the Rams were banged up, even defensively, Green Bay couldn't do anything offensively. They're just bad. Like, and as much as I want to put it on Jordan Love that he's so bad as well, it has to fall on the coaches as well, right? Are they really putting him in the best positions? And if they are, then yeah, he's a complete flop. And I'm assuming they'll move on from him after this year or maybe next year. But I'm with you, Chad. Like, I'd feel more confident if more books were showing this at 3.5. Like, that would make me feel good because that's like, okay, at least we got the best number at 2.5. At least we got the good number at 3.
Yeah.
A couple books have shown the 3.5, and then they come back down to the 3. Maybe we'll get there by Sunday. Like, people know I'm going to be betting. I'm invested in this one. I'm going to be invested in Pittsburgh. I'll be taking Pittsburgh in this game. As long as it's at 3, 2.5, I'm going to be backing Pittsburgh this number. But I'm definitely with you. Like the splits, the trends with Tomlin as a favorite, not great. Not. Don't give me as confident as we get when we take him as a dog. So definitely something to be wary of. But another game on Thursday, if I come in here and I have more confidence in it, just means I know that there's other pro groups coming in on this Pittsburgh team with me. But right now, it feels like it's just me on Pittsburgh. So a little scary.
All right. Well, this one won't be in the contest as of yet. Right now, our 5 contest games, I'll repeat: Jags, Tennessee, Browns, Bengals, New Orleans, Atlanta, Arizona. We talked about this one on Sunday too. We just decided we were taking a little bit, tiny little, teeny, eeny, weeny taste of Arizona plus 2.5. If news came out that Kyler was going to come back, he's been practicing the past couple of weeks. They played Clayton Tune last week. I believe Kyler is playing on Sunday,
Yeah.
and this line is now moved to 1.5. Other than the fact I wanted to get the edge at the 2.5, I'm really, and I barely bet it, like half a unit, and I put it in the app, Action Network app. I don't really have a strong opinion on this game. Like, to me, I wouldn't put it in the contest.
Yeah, I'm cool with
Oh
keeping it
God.
moving. Like I'm with you. Like I only got probably like $1,000 down. It was freaking Sunday night. Like the books aren't taking much anyway, and we kind of made a bet just hoping that it would be Kyler and we would get good value on the line movement. No, it's great. It's gone from 2.5 down to 1 now. Like yeah, that feels great, but it's for pennies. Like I'm not getting anything really out of this one. So I'm with you, Chad. I got no interest in really betting this game.
Weird, because I got down 5 dimes.
You must know a guy.
I know a guy. Detroit at Los Angeles Chargers. We talked about this one on Sunday night too. You bet it immediately at -1
Yeah,
Lions. You said you're back in a public road fave, and you said
super
sometimes the
chalk.
public wins. Super chalky. Um, is there a number at which you would not bet the Lions?
Um,
Like, to you, you still like you still like the bet.
yeah, like the Chargers look broken and the Lions look like one of the class of the NFC. Like they've had some brutal injuries. And I just before he came on, the guy I really trust, one of their best beat writers in all of Detroit, said this is the healthiest this team's been all season. Like I take that as a big deal. Like a guy that's locked into this team. That means Montgomery's coming back. I don't know Montgomery's coming back, but if this beat writer's saying that I'm assuming that means Montgomery's coming back, which if you look at the numbers this year, he's one of the best red zone running backs in all of football. And that's a big deal to Detroit, a team that, you know, not that that's their bread and butter, but they're a team that scores. Like they're a team that really needs to put up points, and their defense has been better, and they have made strides. And you know, we saw it with that Chargers team. They lost Williams, they lost Palmer, so two really important receivers to Herbert. So now that means all the focus is shifted to Keenan Allen. So defenses are doubling Keenan Allen. They could not be more happy to leave that rookie. What's his name? Quentin Johnson,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rookie receiver for the Chargers. I mean, that's a gift. You can put that guy on one-on-one coverage without a safety over top all game because he is bad. He's bad at running routes. He's bad at body control. He's bad at hand placement. Total whiff by the Chargers. In a draft with wide receivers that really felt like you really couldn't miss. There's a lot of good talent in this draft class. They totally missed on this kid. So, I mean, I'm looking at the app right now. It's like 90% of the money, 90% of the tickets or something like that is on Detroit. So if it stays that way, me and Chad having this in our contest is about 0% chance. But I bet at the 1.5. I bet the 1. I bet the 2 when it got to 2. Now that it's at 2.5, I've kind of stopped. So maybe if this gets a 3.5, I'll do a Chad middleman play and try to hit that middle. But how do I not join the public here? The Lions just feel like such a better team, and I don't see them sleepwalking through this game. I mean, I know they're coming off a bye, but like, how do you not get fired up for this game in LA? Yeah, it's a tough one, Chad.
But what you just said is interesting to me because, and by the way, this number is all over the board. 2.5, 2.5, 1.5, 1.5. Like it's everywhere right now.
Yeah.
What you just said is interesting. The Lions look like one of the class of the NFC, and the Chargers look broken. All the money is coming in the Lions. Isn't that when we would normally bet the Chargers? Right?
It is if they had a true home field. That's what breaks the rule here. It's not like this is Lambeau or this is Dallas or Philadelphia. Like it's not a real home dog. Their whole lives are on the road. Like even when they're at home, you know, do we really think the diehard Lions fans aren't going to show up more than Chargers fans in this game? Of course we do. So you're right though. Like normal spot, I'm almost always on the Chargers here. So that's the only reason I wouldn't be in our contest come Sunday. If this is the same splits, which is 90-90, I mean, Evan tells us too. He'll tell us Sunday morning what the splits are. Like, I'm out. Like, no way would this one be in the contest. But if we get some hopefully professional money, someone to come in on the other side and come in on the Chargers team, I'd feel much better if this was a 70-70 split rather than a 90-90 split, which is just insane.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. All right. The next game, the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Our guy, Tommy DeVito, has been named a full-time starter for the rest of the year for the New York Giants. That is tragic. Like, there's sometimes you just feel bad. Like, it's basically, the truth is, every coach, every player has a limited window in which to experience being in the NFL. And for the Giants, their window, 1 year of that window is now being controlled by Tommy DeVito. And that's just, I feel bad for them. They're 16.5-point dogs to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Tan laundry, baby. Here we go. Tommy DeVito. How you feeling, boys? Chad said it. We usually go Dallas here. We take them as big favorites against bad teams. It tends to work out for us. In what world do they score on this Dallas defense, especially a Dallas coming off a loss? Like if they'd beat the Eagles and this number was this high, you know, I probably could get talked into that. Like I could probably get talked into DeVito. Like he had, you know, some moments where it's like, okay, I can see why this kid made a roster against the Raiders. Like that's how low the bar was. Like he completed a couple of passes and I was like, right? Okay, this kid's got some moxie. He shouldn't be in the league. It's like this guy is the classic definition of, well, I don't want to be paying a guy who's been in the league for 10 years a couple extra million. I'd rather just draft a guy and, you know, see what he has, make him our project. Maybe he's a Brock Purdy, or maybe he's just going to be on our bench and he'll be out of the league in 3 years. That's what this kid's future was, right? He was just going to come in, get a couple cheap checks, just filling a body on the roster, right? He was behind Daniel Jones. He was behind Tyrod Taylor. This kid was never going to see the field. Now he is starting in Dallas. Just a nightmare. So I won't get there because it's such a big number. But if Chad came to me Sunday morning, it's like, we got to put this in and it's under 17, I might be able to get there because it's just a horrible spot for the Giants. They're just walking into the Hornets' nest right now with this Dallas team, but just an absurd, huge number. And I think we used Dallas already for Survivor, but like
Yeah.
this is the standout play of the week. Like if you still got Dallas, how do you not use them here against this kid?
Look, I think we're going to have a lot of options that we like on Sunday. We probably won't
Yeah.
need to get down to Dallas. One of the options, which I do like, Seattle, a 6-point favorite at home. Some places 6.5, but you can still get it at 6 at home against Washington. Seattle against Baltimore still applies. They have a good defense more, but they are playing a far inferior team in Washington that is sort of that us against the world, dead cat bounce against New England. They were playing the right team in New England, a team that can't execute no matter what the scenario. The reality is this is not New England. And that Washington rush D is bad on multiple levels from an advanced metrics point of view. This is how Seattle will try to win the game. Shout out to Brandon Anderson, who does the hot read in the podcast that Gilles Gallant and Evan do on Sunday night, wrapping up the week. He'll choose a couple games that he looks ahead on, and he's been smoking hot on these games. He was 2-0 last week, and Seattle is one of the games that he liked. I got it at 6. It's moving up in some places, but I do love Seattle in this spot.
This line stinks. I don't get it. Why is it not over 7? Fishy number, fishy line, fishy game. I don't get this number either. I was with you. I want to be on Seattle. Like, this is a great bounce back spot for Seattle. Washington is already coming off a road win. They don't really need, I mean, of course they need this game, but they're not desperate, right? They don't have that stank all week. They're feeling pretty good all week. They had a win. Now they're going up to Seattle. I do not get this number at all. Like, Seattle is such a better team to me than Washington, especially after Washington made all these trades. Be careful, people. Be careful on this one. I have no bets on it yet. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm leaning towards Washington. I do not.
No.
Yeah, I just don't get this number. Like, why is this under a touchdown? Like, this Seattle should roll in this game. Like you just said, there's nothing on Washington's defense that's going to give problems to Geno in this offense. So, maybe I have way too much respect for Eric Bieniemy, and like, I think he should be the head coach of the Washington. He's just been incredible. Offensively, what he's done with Sam Howell and this offense of Washington has just been amazing. Like, this guy, as amazing he's been for them, just look at what the Chiefs are now since he's left. Like, that Chiefs offense looks totally lost, and he's the only difference. He's like, yeah, someone said, well, do you think it matters that Juju left? Did Juju really change the Chiefs offense last season? No. Like, Eric is the reason their offense is struggling in like Kansas City. Like, the man, maybe we gave too much credit to Andy Reid, and that's why he left, right? He wasn't getting the head coaching jobs. He said, forget it. I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere that's just a train wreck that I'll prove to everyone that I am an offensive genius. And I can't doubt him. Like, the way he's coaching now has just been amazing. So I'm right there with you, Chad. I don't get this number. Why is Seattle so low? Feels like it's great value in Seattle. I'm just going to stay away from it. There's something fishy about this line.
Teams to lose by 20 points or more the previous week, facing a team that didn't lose by 20 points or more. They are 60% against the spread since 2020. In week 10, that includes the Giants, the Cardinals, and Seattle. So in theory, 2 out of those 3 teams should cover. And I think, to me, Seattle and Arizona feel like the right sides to cover. So I still like it. I know you don't like it.
What if I told you 90% of the handle is on Seattle and 70% of the tickets is on Seattle, and the book is still showing 6? It's just weird. It's a weird number. I know it's early in the week, but it's
early.
Something's funny about that line.
Right, but it's no different than the Lions. all the money
Facts.
off the tickets, right?
Yeah.
So it's still
Yeah.
early.
I don't feel great about the Lions either. It's just like these books, they lay traps. We talk all the time. And this is definitely one of those weird numbers.
Yeah, but Simon, I don't have nuances in my feelings. I feel sick or I feel amazing. And right now on Seattle against Washington, I feel amazing. Simon, can you name the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States?
Game time.
That's right, our sponsor, Game Time. I love Game Time for two reasons. One, they sponsor this show. Number two, I actually use Game Time to buy tickets. They've got amazing last minute deals on all sorts of tickets, including pro and college football games. Speaking of which, I'm going to open Game Time right now from our studio here in New York City, Manhattan, baby. I'm looking at my app. I can see it right now. I'm opening Game Time. Guess what? St. John's basketball. That's right. It's college basketball season. Rick Pitino is back. He's coaching the Johnnies. I can get in $10 to see a Hall of Fame coach taking a team and turning it around. Are you kidding me? No matter where you live, download the Game Time app, get out, have some fun this week. Go sweat your bets live and in person. You can redeem code favorites for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just download the app. Enter code favorites for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we got two more games. The Jets at Raiders. Right now, obviously the Jets coming off that terrible, terrible loss. This game is moved from 2.5 to 1.5. No opinion on this. Can't find a way to bet it that makes me feel comfortable.
What? You love the Jets here. How do you not love the Jets here? I'm praying this moves to them being a dog. That would be incredible. Like this rookie QB getting all the love right now for the Raiders, and people are feeling good. They had the bounce back game. They won big. Antonio Pierce gave some amazing speech. The boys love playing for him. Everyone's feeling good. Devontae Adams has one catch. He doesn't care. He's happy, right? They're winning. Yeah, gotta bet the Jets here. I mean, these
Can we at least
are
wait? Can we at least wait and see if they get to a dog?
yeah, you can. I'm gonna take the 1.5 here, but I'm hoping it gets to a dog. But no, total overreaction by the public. Yes, Zach Wilson is terrible. Me and Chad hate betting on him. We hate watching him. We hate the experience as it is. But we're playing the numbers here. The Jets are a better team. The Jets have better coaching. The Jets have, a defense that going up against this kid, they should get a bunch of turnovers. Like this feels like a good time to back the Jets team. So feels good. Looking at the splits here again, another game where the public is all over one side, and me and Chad, we don't blindly fade the public, right? We went 2-0 last week, right on the public. We had, or 3-0, I guess. We had the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Bengals. All of them were the most bet teams. That's not the norm for us. That's not somewhere I want to be either. But if the numbers line up right and we're getting value on the one side, we don't really care what the public is doing. This is one where the public is totally overreacting, right? They're all pissed off. We said the Jets were a public dog last night. So that means everyone in the Graham that lost on the Jets last night, they're mad. They're coming on the Raiders. This is another primetime game. Man, who knows come Sunday if I convince Chad to put this one in, but because Sunday nights have been good to us. We've had a nice run with these Sunday games. If the Jets are a dog come Sunday, this will be in. Like I'm telling you, people, this will be in if the Jets are a dog. I can't pass on that value. But as we sit here right now, don't worry, not making Simon Says, not doing any of that for you people. It's just letting you know I love the Jets in this spot this week.
It's going to be Thursday afternoon, and me and Matt Mitchell are going to be in fucking Copenhagen, and I'm going to have to be yelling big balls bet of the week in our Danish studio.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have all these people looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Well, I'm yelling big balls bet of the week about the New York goddamn Jets. Then I'm going to get off a plane on Saturday night at 9:30 in New York at JFK and have to take a car 2 hours home and then sleep off my jet lag and then have to stay up to watch the goddamn fucking Jets against the Raiders.
What a good life. I'm jealous. I want your life, Chad.
It's a pretty good life. The Broncos are 7.5-point dogs to the Bills. I bet this at 7.5 on the Broncos.
Of course you
It's
did.
like, what am I missing here?
I don't know. Makes me want to take the Bills. What is this line? Why are the Bills getting 7.5 like this is last year? What is happening? Are the books fucking with us? It was the same thing in that Bengals game. It's like
It
who
makes no sense.
yeah, who were the Bills to be 2.5 against the Bengals in that game? That was such a bizarre line. And it feels the same here where it's like I told you I wanted to fade the Broncos so bad last week after they beat the Chiefs and they'd won their Super Bowl, right? First time they'd beat them in I don't even know what it was. They had lost like 16
20
straight.
times.
Yeah. They got lucky. They had a bye week. You know, now they're on the road, even more extended rest, playing against the Bills. I'll do the coward method here. I'll just take Bills first half and be like, you know what? Long layoff for Denver after a big win. They'll come out slow. They'll come out sluggish against a Bills team that I expect to come out hungry and desperate, but the Bills don't got the dogs on defense. That's why I don't get this
Yeah,
number. Like they
that's the
don't got
problem.
they don't got the guys that make stops. So I'm not gonna fault Chad for jumping right in on the 7.5. Like I feel like I wanted to do it too. I got no money in this game right now, but I'm leaning towards just taking the Bills first half and just being done with this one because 7.5. Everything in my body is screaming take the Broncos, but weird number by the books hanging this at 7.5.
Guy, Russell Wilson has been just good enough. And I don't buy they're going to come out slow theory because that's the only time they're good is
Well,
because
just
they're
first
so
drive is
scripted.
the only time he's good. They're good on the
They're
first drive, and
so
that's it.
they're so scripted. And also, Sean Payton figured out what to do with this team. Like they made a conscious effort and improved on defense, really good coaching. It's not just a fluky way. Like he's had another week to build confidence, tighten up that defense. And the Bills are in a bit of a free for all, right? 2-2 since that loss to the Jags. Unimpressive struggle wins against the Giants and the Bucks. Losses to the
They're even
Pats.
money right now to make the playoffs, Chad. That's how the books view
That's
that.
how bad it is.
Yeah.
Like this, it's fascinating. The AFC North and the AFC East, the way things have flipped the
Yeah.
past couple of weeks, right? We thought the AFC North would be the best division of football, and the last few weeks we're seeing, the Bengals and Ravens and the Bills and the Dolphins in the East just sort of creating a little bit. It's fascinating. So right now, games that could be in our contest, and we're going to talk about this more on Thursday. Jags +3, Tennessee +1.5, Browns +6, Bengals -6.5, New Orleans -2.5, Lions -1.5, Seattle -6, New York Jets -1.5, Broncos +7.5, maybe. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day, they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. All right, be sure to catch our next episode of The Favorites live on the Action Network YouTube page Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Download us from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Love you.